what is the balance? What is the balance to which we should do what we want to do? Like, it doesn't seem right to say, feel, or think that we should do whatever we want to do all the time, but it also is pretty apparent and obvious that it isn't right to say you should never do what you wish to do also. And there is to me at least, it's obvious that there is a certain balance. And again, balance is shift and everything, but there is a yin yang element to it, right? Where it's not completely one or completely the other. But I think now that I'm thinking about it, to get more in depth to it, and in my eyes, to get closer to the root of the truth of it, would be to consider how would you define like your desire, like meaning which things are really something that you want to do versus things that you would do based off your environment or your situation, or your experience. So I guess I mean, like, it's more important to look at it as recognizing the distinction of things that the real you wants to do versus things that the ego version or the character that you've become, or like the 3D physical version of you would want to do, right? And maybe that's where the balance comes in. Like, you should regulate the things that ego or learned or 3D version of you wants to do, right? Because perfect learning, we don't like perfectly learn as in learn without flaws. In fact, we actually learn in large part through our flaws. So like the nature of what we've learned has flaws in it, or I should say the nature of what we are learning oftentimes has flaws in it. But as far as that true self, that true version of you, that pure version of you, that version of you that was existent from your original state, or your original like incarnation of yourself as this person that you are at this moment, maybe those things, because they were built into you, or like they are innate to you, you know what I'm saying? Maybe those things are the things that you can live with less regulation on, right? With less restriction on, you know? And I mean, you would still have to be aware of the good and bad, positive and negative types of elements that can be involved in that. But then again, from my first mind, I can say that I wouldn't expect too many genuinely negative elements to exist in the desires of an individual with that level of purity that I'm talking about, that level of existing from how you were intended to, or how you were designed originally to exist. You know what I'm saying? That quote unquote perfect version of you, that uncorrupted, unfettered, unaltered version of you, right? The innate version of you. Any elements of that, I would imagine, wouldn't be like negative, you know? Some could probably be perceived as negative, but I doubt any would actually be negative, you know? I don't know, it seems like if we could tap into that real self, that original self, that innate version of ourselves, and understand and be aware of the desires that come from that part of, yourself, you could live in a more free type of way, a more unfettered, unrestrained type of way. Because at least this is my perspective, my belief, my opinion, or whatever. You were made that way, or you possess those desires for a specific and special reason. Just like there's a reason why you possess those desires from your ego, the reason being that you learned it. The reason you possess those other desires is that you were given it, and you were given it by your creator, your designer, your source, right? So not only is there a reason, but there is a good reason, like it's more than reason, it's purpose in you being, made like that. And so, like I said, tapping into that purpose, you can live in it in an extreme way.